Welcome to our next class. In this class, we will look at the structure plane, which is element number 3 in our text. We have already talked about the strategy plane, where we establish the goals and objectives and determine who our possible users are. The scope plane is where we start gathering our content and thinking about what types of functional specifications or features might our product need. The next plane is the structure plane, and every plane is built on the one below it. At the structure plane, we start giving shape to the scope, meaning how will the pieces fit together and how will they behave. So we have already identified what the content is, what some of our functionality might be. Now we're going to start looking at the structure plane. So in the structure plane, we develop a conceptual structure. We will do some pen and paper work, but we're not actually developing yet. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. They're just too quick to start cranking out that HTML or laying out the word processor. So at this plane, we're going to look at how the information will be organized, how it will be related to each other, and how everything will fit together and behave. Here again, we're relating back to the goals, not only the business goals, but the goals that the user might have. We all go to a website for a reason. We all read something for a reason. We all use a product for a reason. So even though the product may have its own innate goals, the user will have goals also. There's something that they're going to want to do. So we want to make sure that the organization and functionality is organized so that the user can accomplish that. All right, so if we were developing a website, this is where we start planning how the users will use it, how they're going to flow through the site, how they're going to find what they are looking for. If the product is something else, we still need to look at the user to determine how they're going to use the product, also possibly how they're going to find things. It could be a phone. It could be a multimedia application, a game. How do they know where the pieces are that they might want to be using? So here again, there are a lot of different tools that we can use to help us develop a conceptual structure to determine the organization and relationships. We can draw diagrams, flowcharts, blueprints. Let's face it, all architectures start with a blueprint. Sitemaps. Now, a sitemap is not necessarily the same thing that you are familiar with on a website, although it can be. Concept map, outlines, card sorting, and I'll talk about some of these. All right, so at this plane, there are two areas. All right, the interaction. Okay, so here again, sometimes our product behaves like software. There's some kind of interaction going on. And there's also the content. So we're looking at these two pieces. All right, in what is called interaction design, because users are going to be using something, and ultimately there always is almost some kind of interaction involved, even if it's just flipping from one page of a brochure to another. All right, understanding possible user behavior. All right, understanding how the system is going to respond to the user. What technical features might work best for that user. So we're going to be designing the interaction that works best for the user, therefore having it be user-centered. For example, a shopping cart. All right, so what is a shopping cart? Okay, yeah, it's a container. What are some of the things that a shopping cart does? It adds, removes, we can view things, we can save things, we can order multiple things. All right, we can enter a discount, we can enter a coupon code, we can total up, we can pay. So these are all the things that we need to start thinking about and planning if we were to have a shopping cart. Now, this is just one example of the interaction design. A login screen, and we talked about that in the past. Here again, you need to develop some kind of a flow chart, understanding, all right, when the person logs in, all right, what's going to happen? All right, well, everything could happen wonderful, and they could get to where they want to go, or there could be a problem, and in that case, what happens next? So we need to start thinking about this. And this is the place where we do it. We don't do it after we've put the website on the web. We do it way, way earlier. All right, so back to these two areas. We looked at the interaction design. Now we're going to look at the information architecture, which is essentially looking at the content. All right, so how is the information structured so that others can understand and use it? Who are the others? There are users. We want to make sure that the information is structured and understandable for the users. We cognitively process things, and therefore the users must make sense of the information somehow. So this is the plane where we start laying out this piece. Okay, structuring the content. How are we going to organize it? What kind of schemes are we going to use? What kind of navigation schemes might we use? What type of categorization schemes might we use, depending on the nature of the content? This is the place where we start looking at all of this. There's several different ways that we can categorize things. You might hear the phrase a top-down approach or a bottom-up approach. Both of them work well in different situations. Sometimes it's a good idea to try to get a balance between the two. A top-down approach is more driven by the strategy plane with respect to goals and objectives, where we would have our main goals out front and drilling down to the secondary objectives, the third level objectives, etc. As opposed to bottom up, we start with the functionality, and then essentially we ultimately lead to the goals. So in a top-down approach, we're looking at understanding the big picture and working down. Starting with the objectives, ultimately going to the user needs. This is good for if you have a lot of room, lends itself well to large websites. The bottom-up type of scheme is something we would see on a mobile device. We're looking at the functional requirements first, the pieces that make the application work, as opposed to the goals and objectives. When we use a mobile application, it doesn't have all of the content that it might on a larger web site. It has the most important functionalities that we need. So this is an example of a bottom-up situation. So top-down, we start with the main goals and objectives and work our way down. Bottom-up, we start with the functionality as the most important thing. You might hear different types of architectural approaches to organizing the content, otherwise referred to as nodes. This hierarchical, top-down, this tree structure, parent-child relationship is the most common, especially for websites. We also have what is called a matrix where we can look at something on a couple dimensions. For example, in our drop-down list, we can browse for a product by color and size. Linear, where we're going from one page to another in a shopping cart. Organic, which is essentially no pattern at all. Here again, sometimes we have a search box. Sometimes we have all four of this type of organizations on one site, so to speak. Here again, this does lend itself a little bit more to websites. All right, so let's take a look at Urban Outfitters, and you can visit their website on the web. They have a very nice hierarchical approach. If you notice, going across on their main categories, and when you click, we drill down to subcategories. But ultimately, when we click further, we go into what is called a matrix, or possibly even organic, because we can refine by styles, by size, by colors, by brand. We can further narrow it down. There is no more a hierarchical. There's a different type of organizational. It really isn't organized. It's based on how the user is choosing. And you see this a lot on our database-driven websites, and most of our large websites are. Here again, when you finally make a sale, the shopping cart is sequential. We've all been there. You see the cart, then you do the shipping stuff, then you do your billing, then your order summary, then your payment, etc. The language and the metadata. All right. The language we use and the subtle cues, the adjectives, etc., help users find their way, in addition to how we structure. So here again, this is user-centered. Structuring the material that's going to make sense to that user. And using the language, and by language we mean the phrasing of our descriptions, our labels, and other terminology. Metadata also for behind-the-scenes search engines. This is where we start determining how are we going to phrase everything. Metadata, adding in, which technically is defined as information about information, adding it to the content, adding it to the HTML, so that it will be helpful in the future for searches. Two commonly used tools to create a structure, an organization of a structure, is a sitemap and another procedure called card sorting. Here again, a sitemap is a floor plan or a visual representation of our organization, how everything is going to be connected. And a lot of times, your conceptual sitemap will be the actual structure of the website or of a document or another product. Okay, why do we need these tools? Well, because when you're developing a product, you want to make sure that the stakeholders and the business personnel make sure that the product is heading in the right direction, the goals are being represented. The developers who are actually going to be implementing the content and feature requirements, they need to understand also the relationship, and the designers who are actually going to be doing the coding and the graphics, they need to understand it also. Card sorting, on another hand, is a process where we essentially use index cards or sticky notes or something that you can post on a wall, and we just write them out, and then we just start organizing them. And it just shows, by putting the content little by little, we start seeing where relationships possibly occur. I guess it's kind of like organizing a drawer. You take everything out, lay it on the table, and then you start putting things together that are related in some way, shape, or form. And so this is what essentially we're doing with our content. We're grouping, we're finding categories, we're finding similarities, we're finding essentially patterns of thinking, because that's what our user's going to be. They're going to be coming to our site, they're going to be thinking, they're going to be looking, they're going to be processing information. So we want to try to make sure that information is meaningful and usable for them.